You are tuned in to www.oghuskyradio.com. Proudly broadcasting from the east side of Los Angeles. Ladies and gentlemen, we do broadcast from the hood. Artists do come in studio to get interviewed. No telephone interviews. I mean, I'm sorry if that's what y'all need to get by, but we need the artists to actually come to the east side, you know what I'm saying, to get interviewed. So any of the archives that you do see, if you click on the videos, are from the east side of Los Angeles. And just what we do, represent where we're from. Hip-hop is worldwide. And with that, man, this is way long overdue, probably about 2 to 3 years overdue, man. Like, especially, we got both of them, man. Shit. In one shot. Straight up. With that, we represent infinite elements of hip-hop. There's more than just four. And when I say that, because beatboxing, someone picking up an MPC is also an element of hip-hop. But I'll say first and foremost, the element that these two cats represent, I don't like using the graffiti term. I just like using the art term of what they do. People ain't going to jail for scratching on a turntable. People ain't catching cases for rocking a mic. You know what I'm saying? So with what you guys started and represent as the art, I say are the true original defenders of what we do. You know what I'm saying? And definitely well overlooked. With that, if I could have you guys introduce yourselves individually.
All right. My name is Fabian Spade de Bora.
My name is Juan Carlos Muñoz Hernandez. Hernandez con la Z.
And what you're also known as?
Oh, Heaven.
Straight up.
Heaven.
Well, let's break that down first. Spade, let me ask you, man, where did that name come from, man? Well, like, break down the history of the name Spade.
Spade, when it was back in 1988, almost like in 88, you know what I mean? I was given the choice either to be called Spear or Spade. Spear, you know what I mean? Because I was slim, as I am still. And I think Spade was better because I think Spade takes all, you know what I mean? It has a stronger and more emphasis on the name.
So who gives you that option of choosing those names, or how does that come about?
I think back in the days we used to carry around our little dictionaries and shit and try to find a little book that with a proper name that has some sort of emphasis. But as time went on, Spade actually stands for Spirits Prosper as Dimensions Expose. And that's mainly what that defines in the art world and what we create and paint, you know what I mean?
MiSoulTribe.com, FabianSpadeDebora.com, JuanCarlosMuñozHernandez.com. With that, where did the name Heaven come from?
Heaven came from, man, it came from up above, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just the name that came through me and decided to start writing that name.
So then with that being, you know what I'm saying, so were you known for rocking a lot of Heavens?
Nah, not really, man. I didn't even know what those heavens meant, man. You know what I mean? I used to pass through them all the time, but never, you know, gone through that.
And with that though, what year did you start getting into, let's say in a graph or art? Like, what was the first thing that you saw that was like, you know, there's something I want to do on some real shit? Like, cause I'll be like, me personally, I could be like 4th grade and people be like bullshit, but I'll be like, nah, because the fools used to write on the block some badass block letters, you know, and shade it in. So like, just be honest. Like, at what age is like, this is what I want to do, or what inspired you? You know what I'm saying?
Well, it goes deep, man. It goes back to Mexicali, you know what I mean? When I started playing with mud and trying to make UFOs and stuff like that, and then coming to Boyle Heights, to Aliso, Pico Aliso projects. Moving into that area, and you're just like surrounded by a lot of blocks, whether there's buildings, whether there's writing, and then that just kind of went into my blood, and to make the long story short,
Yeah.
it was like I was like 12 years old when I got my first spray can, and it was not an aerosol, I was spraying oil. I went into a place where that. It was across the street was a Pico factory, you know what I mean? And for everybody that lived in the projects, they know what I'm talking about, you know?
Yeah.
And I did my first little piece, and
okay, what was your first name? Did you even, were you putting Heaven or?
Nah, I was putting something else, you know?
Yeah.
I was putting something else, yeah.
Oh shit, straight up. And Spade, that's the thing too, though. Spade, you're from the same area as
Yeah.
It says one of the things, like, this is like some good history, especially with the East Side. Just break down like what got you into it.
I think for me it was like growing up in the 80s. It was like the hip hop culture, you know what I mean? Run DMC, Grandmaster Flash, and for me that was an escape, an escape. You know, it's being surrounded by 8 local gangs that plagued that neighborhood. For me, I did not want to do that. That was not my career or choice. But at the same time, I looked up to, you know, for example, Heaven was one of my mentors back then, and all I wanted to do was just stay away from all that trouble. And I felt that hip hop and graffiti art and all that would kind of give me that route, that escape, that, you know, to stay away from all that violence. But of course, as time went on, you know, I started to admire Heaven's styles of letters, and I too had that gift of arts at a very young age. So I say, man, maybe this is the way I want to direct my talents to, and that's how I began admiring the OGs that were already there before me. Heaven's a little older than me, no disrespect, homie. But you know, I come right behind Heaven. You know, I looked up to my mayores and my maestros. So.
But even like that, I'm 34 years old. I'm not asking you guys to say your age. You know what I'm saying? I'm 34 years old, and these are the cats that I know that were rocking the East Side when I was young. So with that, who are the people that you guys would see up? I always like to break that down because like this is mad history for me, but I'm pretty sure there's cats that you guys know about before you. You know?
I say one person, man, that really like saw and inspired me was Gio and Crime. You know,
Okay.
going down, whether I was going down the Whitter Bridge, you know what I mean? I'll see a Gio, and it was like the flow, and then it was like a white filling with the red outline, and just the flow. It was like, damn, that shit looks fresh, you know what I mean? And then I will go down Tommy's, and then I'll see Rick one's piece right there next to the hamburgers. I was like, damn, you know, that was just amazing, you know what I'm saying? And then there's also a First in Utah, you know, you see the other murals going on, and so all of that was just a part of
with the murals on the East Side. You guys come from an era too where we still had the Chicano murals, you know what I'm saying, where it was actual stories. Indirectly, or if you want or if you don't want to answer, but like where did it change where like murals now is just a name? Like especially in the East Side, we had so much history of like you could actually break down, you know what I'm saying, some of the old like where it's the timeline or what the actual mural represented. At what age did that change?
I think for me, I was the way I progressed from graffiti art into Chicano muralism, or the progression of art. I was introduced to that in 1994 for me. I was taken in by the Islo Streetscapers, which are Chicano muralists, which is Wayne Healy and David Botello. Those were my maestros. They took me out of East Lake Central Juvenile Hall. I was facing 3 years in Youth Authority, and Father Greg Boyle from Homeboy Industries, he mentioned to the judge that I have potential and talent, that why send them through Youth Authority when they can take them into the studios and educate them on what it is, arte. And so Wayne Healy stepped up to the plate as a mentor, and that's how I got involved with the Streetscapers and introduced to the Chicano muralism, later to meet Paul Botello and all these other Chicano muralists from that era. And they also gave me a different window and a different perspective on how far my art can actually go with the understanding of cultura and the history. And so so I was able to capture the graph, and I was able to capture the Chicano muralism, and that's what influences my work to this day. And so that's important, man. I mean, I admire those murals because they kind of save lives, you know what I'm saying? And
a lot of the art that you, not a lot, but some of the art that I've seen that you do, me being the fucking hater that I am, I'll say that you're glorifying like gang culture or the East Side. What would be your response to that?
I think I'm just trying to shine light and give you the true definition on what that means. A lot of the times that's the perception that society has and been having for many years and decades, that the fact that they don't take a closer look onto exactly what that means, you know what I'm saying? So for example, I have an image of the homie pouring the liquids in front of the housing projects. It's not to glorify pouring liquids to the dead homies. It's a form and prayer of meditation to those who passed away in the Aliso village, and what they broke. The Aliso Village projects no longer exist. So we got to think about the familias that came in those projects as well. It's not just gang culture. So now we have the hanging of the shoes, and they think it's because someone's died there or they congregate there. Nah, man, it's just a simple game of horseshoes, in a sense where when we were kids, we didn't have Xbox, PlayStations. We played marbles, and we got our shoes and said, I bet you I could throw them higher.
Straight up.
That's all it's about.
Straight up. I was watching like a gang documentary, and because I grew up right here in Rose Hill Projects.
Right.
It's projects of the same world fucking wide.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? They were interviewing this cut.
Las cucarachas.
Yeah. And this fool was just like, he's just like, man, wherever there's shoes, they're slanging dope.
Right.
I was like, nah, man, we just fucking, our shoes got tore up and we're just trying to see who could do it. Because there was always that one fool, like, when you couldn't do it, he would get your shoes up there. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's just a childhood memory, man. And then it gets misinterpreted throughout the years. You know, just people wondering, you know, if you ask me or take a closer look, I'll give you the true meaning behind that.
Straight up. And then you were saying, too, growing up in the projects, with how the art has changed, well, not even the art, let's just say the illegal aspect of it, how can I put this? Would you, at the age that you started doing it and the times that have changed with the laws, would you tell a kid now growing up in the projects, like, this is the way to do it, like, or like still advise them to get into the art side of this or the illegal side of it?
I'm thinking that now, since we've been experiencing that and we have come a long way due to our gift of art, because I would think that there's money to be made now, you know what I'm saying? And if you're gonna actually go out there and risk yourself for a 15 minutes of fame, you might as well put that shit on canvas and then bring it towards the gallery and make your ends meet. It makes it that much better. It's archived and it's actually saved in a more archival way, which is more important for the youth. I think that's what I would tell them. I mean, I will inspire them to continue doing what it is and hopefully to redirect them onto putting it on canvas and making a name for themselves in a positive way to actually expand what it is, the Chicano culture or just the cultura in itself, whether it's craft, whether it's fine art, whatever that means. But I think so, because if I would have been discouraged a long time ago, I probably wouldn't be here today speaking about the arts.
Sure. How about for yourself, Heaven? Same question, you know what I'm saying? Being how times have changed from it was different, you know, especially, let's just even say the laws. Would you advise a young kid that was probably at whatever age you started doing it?
Well, you know what? I mean, I'm going to tell you something. It's like, you know, you have the internet. You know what I mean? You have all this computer stuff going on, and kids ain't really talking to each other anymore. You know what I mean? They're just like in a computer, and they're adapted to something, some kind of electronic thing that doesn't really exist, man. You know what I mean? And so when I see a writing on the street, man, by somebody that just, he could have got, you know what I mean? He could have got pulled over. His life would have, his life could have probably ended. And he decided to do something in the street. And then I could see like the writing and all this beautiful stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm gonna say, you know, whether you're wrong, whether you're right, you're always right. You know what I mean? Because then he could have learned an experience and. But you know what I'm trying to say though is he's being
That's
real.
Life.
He's being real.
Living
He's live. He's in the concrete jungle. You know what I mean?
Straight up.
You know, otros morrillos ahí andan en la computadora. You know what I mean? Like doing all this stuff, and they ain't really touching anything. You know what I mean?
What was the transition for you? Like what was like where you started doing the art from? You know what I'm saying?
Man, I got to say it was the colors. Man, the colors just kind of got to me and stuff. And even though there was a lot of shootings and stuff right there where I grew up at. The colors, man. There's the colors and the fine lines, and that shit just went into my soul, and I started doing the graph. You know what I mean? The graffiti on the wall. You know what I mean? And I was up in the roof in the projects. Tell me who in LA could tell you that they went on the roof in the projects and did a piece. You know what I mean? And the projects, like the only projects in the world that had a lot of flavor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for those, the history that, I mean, pretty much, it's not even gentrification what they did right there. They tore the whole motherfucker down.
Hey, you know what, homie?
We got to get rid of this. Motherfuckers are coming out of here that they got skills, and we got to just tear the whole motherfucker down. Like, gentrification ain't even the word for what happened there. But, I mean, that's a little history for anybody, you know, look it up. But where has it taken you, man? Like, what have you know what I'm saying? Besides, like, a kid from the projects, where have you gone? You know what I'm saying? Like, through the art.
You know, through the art, I started working, actually, got a job, right? Pero empezó a hacer esculturas, you know, over there in the west side, in Venice. Yeah. With Robert Graham, you know, and he took me under his wing. And after that, man, I worked on a lot of major projects around the United States, you know, from the Duke Ellington, you know, to Charlie Parker in Kansas City. Yeah. I got to give a shout out to Kansas City, man. Beautiful people over there.
Straight up. And how about for yourself, Spade? Where has this art taken you, man? Like, you know what I'm saying? For a young kid right now that, you know what I'm saying, might only have 4 cans. Because now people don't rack cans no more. If anybody knows what racking is, they know they buy.
Well, you can still rack them, but it's all, you know what I mean? It's all mentally, though. You gotta exercise it, you know what I mean? In a positive way, yeah. You gotta
bring it positive. Anyway, go ahead.
Nah, it's some real shit, man. We just chopping it up. MisoTribe.com, Fabian Spade, Deborah.com, Juan Carlos Munoz Hernandez.com. But yeah, man,
so for me, I've been fortunate enough to be able to be supported by, you know, good community members. You know what I mean? Father Greg Boyle has been my backbone. He's been supporting me since I was a young kid. And I think ever since when I made the decision to continue on my graffiti art, on my fine arts, I was able to go to Rome, Italy. I went to Rome, Italy in 1994 and painted a mural up there in central Rome. Was able to visit the Vatican, the Pietà. And at that time, I was so young. It was so much art for me, I could not embrace it. But it gave me an idea and it gave me a vision of where I can actually go with this.
So you're saying a kid from the projects that had spray cans and writing on the wall got taken to Rome, Italy at whatever age in 94 to see art.
Yes, and then that same time, and when I came back from Rome, Italy, I entered an art competition. It was held by Lucio Roy by Allard. It was a 33rd district art competition, and I was not going to join it because of my low self-esteem or because of the lack of belief and faith. And so I did, and I won first place on that in 1994, and I was taken to Washington, D.C., where my artwork was hanging in the U.S. Capitol, in the tunnels of the U.S. Capitol, where the congressmen and women will walk through, which actually gave me the opportunity to bring my mother, my jefita, who's been there for me since day one, bring her out to the U.S. Capitol. Now we're we're wining and dining with the House of Representatives. For my jefita to be able to see that, that's a big plus. And so that started igniting and fueling my vision even greater and greater, you know what I mean?
Yeah, straight up. Early 94 in high school, man, we had that was like the urban myth that we had heard about Spade. That's why, you know what I'm saying, for you to bring that up, because he went to Rome for graph and bullshit, we're trying to ride on the front of a bus, you know, that wouldn't go, you know what I'm saying? That's why, just to break down some history, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so man, it's all real, man. It's all true, and you know, I've been fortunate enough, you know, not staying focused. Although, you know, you get derailed and sidetracked due to the upbringing and the environments and the shit we encounter at a very young age. But as long as you hold on to that gift, that is the key. Just hold on to that gift, whether it's music, poetry, communication skills, graph, art, whatever that gift may be, that can be your straight savior and your ticket out, you know.
MisoTribe.com, Fabian Spade, Deborah.com, Juan Carlos Munoz Hernandez.com. Let them know what crews, man. Is there still crews involved now that you guys, you know, represent, or you represented, or because we gonna get into some shit now. Like, anybody that's ever tuned in to OG Husky Radio, we from the east side, so we know history, and we don't sugarcoat nothing or try to avoid nothing. So let's break down some history, you know, what crews. Oh, they got a debate. Uh-oh.
Not that kind of crew, homie.
Now break what crews originally from or representing for yourself, Spade.
For me, I was brought up with writing 24/7, W24/7. I was brought up with them, and also influenced by Dope Style and K2S. You know what I mean? And that's because of Heaven, who had me out there in the yards and shit at the time. And so those are the ones that I was brought up with. And to this day, we're still connected. You know, Heaven and I are still connected with some of the folks from K2S, and they still doing their thing. And, you know, later on to bump into now still connected with, you know, Chaz and some of the guys from the old school. But yeah, those are the main groups that I was influenced by. And then I got into the tagging scene, you know, the different tagging scene, which was a whole different scene. But I'll stick with the with the W24/7. I didn't want to put myself on blast. Go ahead, Heaven.
We started, actually, the first crew, one of the first crews was 3TB, a little crew in the projects that was 3 times better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, then it went from that to VIP, Vandals in Pursuit.
All right.
You know what I mean? And then after that, it was Lil Stress, Flu, and Nose, Crier at the time. Crier, Nose at the time, you know. And it started the crew, W24/7. Little crew in the projects, and then hooked up. I don't know how we met, but Cash ended up ended up meeting Cash and
Yeah.
Comic at the Panic Zone. You asked me about the Panic Zone.
Yeah, we get into that.
Yeah, he's like, can't wait. You know what I mean?
People in the chat can't wait.
Yeah, and then you know, we you know what, people would go through the front, we would go through the back because the project was connected to the Panic Zone.
Yeah.
Not too many people know that.
Yeah.
So we would go and then, you know, just go in.
Where'd you go?
and
Like
paint.
by the McDonald's on that side over there, or?
No, not by the McDonald's, by Mission Road.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, by Mission Road and go
Oh, we
through there.
telling y'all now because the Panic Zone is above. So, what is the
Yeah,
Panic Zone
yeah.
for those that don't know? You know, especially on the east side. That's
Panic Zone was a yard, a graph yard that Second to None and K2S started. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And after that, it was just, man, what can I say? A lot of great art went through there, man. It's a fucking museum. You know what I mean?
Straight up.
Museum.
And why was it called the Panic Zone? And you don't have to agree on.
I'm gonna
you know
have
what
to let Spade answer that one.
But for the
No,
people that don't know,
I guess the inside joke is if it was called the Panic Zone because Cash and Comic will come out and rob your ass. I'm just fucking with, I don't know, Holmes. You had the homies. Yeah, no, it's just because of the, you know, the misty look and just because of the risk you take down there. You don't know what can happen. You know what I mean? Just when you walk in, immediately you got to put your shield up. You know, you don't know who's gonna come out the cuts and.
see, so I'm gonna ask you this, and then so I could get heaven sometime. But
All
every
right.
artist that I have, especially from that generation, I ask the craziest story you could give me about the Panic Zone. Well, look at like how they look at each other, like, damn, this motherfucker. But break serious on some real shit. Like, what's the craziest shit you could tell us about the Panic Zone?
Having a blackout, an alcoholic blackout, and waking up underneath the train track and underneath the train.
Straight up.
Luckily, the train don't move. I don't know, man. So many, but heaven can paint that
Yeah.
picture for you.
I got a few, but I'm a you know what I mean? I'm gonna share this one with you. It was actually it was my 18th birthday, and it was you know, Cash, Comic, Skep was there,
Shit.
and they show up, man, with some girls, man. It's like 3 girls and stuff, right? And we have a firebomb going right underneath the freeway overpass.
Right.
We put, you know, it was going and going, right? We were celebrating my birthday. You know what I mean? So the fire was going down, and then Skep, he decided to throw a spray thing of fucking aerosol, like a hairspray from the girls. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then the thing blew up. Boom! And then the fire went up like maybe like 20 feet in the air over the freeway overpass, and like I could see like cars going through and the fire going around them. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And that's one of the
Craziest shit.
right there at the Panic Zone, man. True story.
Straight up. Once again, you tuned in to OGHuskyRadio.com, MeSoulTribe.com, FabianSpade, and Juan Carlos Munoz Hernandez.com. Breaking down a little history from the east side. With that, man, right now, as an artist, what would you consider yourself? A piecer, a tagger? What would you label yourself for, like, cats that are just tuning in, or you know what I'm saying, that don't know really much about the culture or what you represent?
I mean, you know what I mean? For me, I would just consider myself a contemporary artist. I mean, I'm just an artist in general. I can tap into graph, into anything, but contemporary art, I think that contemporary artist, that's what I could consider myself.
Man, me, you know, I'm going to tell you straight up, man. I just see myself as a human being, man. I could see, you know, like somebody sweeping, and I consider him an artist because he's going to do a hell of a fucking sweep. You know what I mean? He's going to clean everything up, make everything plush. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, es lo que es. Depende de cuánta energía le quieres poner. You know what I mean? Le echas
Yeah,
ganas,
everything is art and
everything
shit.
is art to me. Everything,
Oh, that's
man. Like
fucking
from
dope.
that table, I'm looking at your table. You know what I mean? You need a little tighten it up right there. You know what I mean? Well, that's you though. I ain't gonna trip on that shit.
Yeah, this
I ain't
motherfucker
trip,
gonna
dog.
call me out about the table. We done rode over the whole fucking next room. I mean, we gave him a cat. And he's like, "Can I catch a spot?" And like, this motherfucker like started shouting out fucking liquor stores in the project.
No,
I'm sure
Moon's-
sponsored and shit. Moon's Liquor and shit. Moon's Market. And you gonna call me out, dog? Come on. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? My soul felt good when I got here, man. What can I say? You know what I mean?
That's
Yeah, for those that don't know, his cousin David, me and David grew up together and shit, like mad crimies and shit.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
this dude was like, always heard stories and shit about the Liso project. You know what I'm saying? We be chilling right here in Rose Hill Projects, man. And like, we always used to hear the story like, nah, fool, they're from the projects, dog. And they're doing art. Like, I'm telling you, everything was like a myth. You know what I'm saying? You be on the buses and shit. And part of that I want to ask you guys too is like, What are some of the yards that aren't around? Because I mean, are there any yards from back then like that you could still remember?
Oh nah, man, it's like the Panic Zone's gone, the National Yard's gone.
11th yard.
The so was the
Le-
oh
Le-
damn
Leverage
the
Yard-
Leverage
Leverage
yard. I
Yard's
forgot
a long-
about that.
long- that was a
Damn.
battle. That was a
The
battle with
battles
us,
were,
Hex and Slick.
Sick. Yeah. How about the so? They're saying the so is the Soto still active? You guys even follow that still or?
Nah, I trying to, Nah, I got a little yard over there in Santa Monica, like a yard on wheels, at a park. You know, what I mean,
Oh,
we
yeah.
got little wheels on it and stuff, and we usually bring it out on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And paint.
What do you think has changed the most within the culture of the? And I want to say the street. I don't like using the word graffiti. And I don't even like the Penal Code 594. I like to say that the street art aspect. What has changed the most that you guys think like that you know what I'm saying? On some real shit, you know what I'm saying? You guys sitting across from me. Hip hop was supposed to be like a voice of the hood. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be MC and B-boy, you know what I'm saying? These are kids in the hood. Like somehow that has not changed away from that. If you agree with that statement, or what else has changed? Do you guys think?
I mean, for me being the age I am, I think I'm just happy to see that, like my brother, for example, Tizoc from his Soul Tribe, and I mean, we were able to influence him, and he continues with the music, the hip hop, and my homies from ITS, Fred One, Chato and them, they're doing this shit since '86, DJing, scratching, and I mean, they still doing it, and just like here, you guys still got that going. So, I mean, I think not a lot has changed. I just think that if anything's changed is the laws and how difficult it's becoming for these youngsters to be able to express themselves. And something that can also be a form of escape to them is now being looked upon as some sort of crime and violence. That makes it difficult, I think, but that's the only thing that's changed, I think. And I admire the little youngsters who show me their work, and they, I try to motivate them and pump them up and try to fuel them and give them that vision that I hold as well, you know what I mean? But I think that's it, because I mean, once you have the passion and the love for this and knowing that this is where you come from and these are your roots, I think you continue to see what's real behind this. You get me? That's just for me.
How about for yourself, Heaven?
Yeah, the change, man. I see it for good, man. Other than that computer, I'm gonna go back to that computer stuff, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But other than that, man, I see some youth, man. They're doing a lot of good stuff, man. They got a lot of good flow, and there's a lot going on right now too, like with as far as like graph and stuff in the museums and galleries and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So the world's looking at graph right now.
Do you
have
do you have a canvas? Do you still do art shows actively?
Yeah, I still, yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Juan Carlos Munoz Hernandez.com. What about some classic? Was it Krylon or Rustos, man? What was your preference?
Krylon.
So what was some of
Krylon.
your Krylon retired colors, man? That you know what I'm saying?
I like that up. You know what, man? There's this one color, man. It was brick.
Yeah.
Brick. Yeah, it was the best color ever, man. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm still looking for that, man.
Do you embrace it? You use a new paint now too? You embrace all the new?
Yeah,
well, we ain't gonna say their names unless they're sponsoring and shooting some feria, you know. But you know what I'm saying? Like low pressure, everything is so easy. You know what I'm saying? You embracing that too, or it's like, nah, I gotta get my Rustos and my Krylons.
Nah, yeah, you know what, man? I could just use all kinds of paint now. You know what I mean? Just get into flow and and start creating some something. You know what I mean? Like doing some surgery. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
straight surgery.
How about for yourself, paint wise, man? What are some of the retired colors, man?
For me, it was always that cherry red and that teal green, homie. That's the only two colors pop out. And I mean, yeah, I mean, like you asked that question, so now I play with everything as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think once you have that shit in your blood or in your system, you can actually get any paint and just make that shit work. If we can make it work in the county jail with fucking M&Ms and Skittles, we're gonna make some shit work with anything you can get, right?
Straight up. OGHuskyRadio.com, MeSoulTribe.com,
Get our colors.
Fabian Spade, Demora.com, Juan Carlos Munoz Hernandez.com, and what, just offhand, like, just let people know, you know what I'm saying, what you guys are available for, whether it be logo designs or you know what I'm saying, gallery work. Like, just break down and give out your contact.
I mean, I'm universal. I could do logo design. I can paint murals, even store fronts and shit. You know what I mean? But I'm universal, man. I focus right now. My main focus is coming up with a show once a year to be able to break into the mainstream, as they say. You know what I mean? Those galleries, to be able to express myself and what I've been fighting for. For a very long time, to get my voice out there and through visuals. You know what I mean?
Right.
We all have this voice that we need to really send the message to the world out there, and that's what I'm striving for right now. And I think everything is going pretty good for me right now due to that fact. You know, I mean, I've been breaking the ice slowly but surely, and I'm making my way. I don't know, I'm going off bounds, but I gotta say that I had put a fundraiser together just about 2 weeks ago, and I'm making my way to New York City, and I'll be in New York City July 6th to the 11th, and I'm gonna go out there art hunting, and also bring my portfolios, my business cards, and go out there and let them know what the West Coast is doing. You get
Straight
me?
up, they were asking in the
Right.
chat just about that, and you answered that
Right,
straight up.
right.
Right.
How about for yourself, Heaven? What's up, man?
Ah, man, what can I say, man? Just working, man. You know, I got my daughter and stuff, Maya Luna, which I love.
That's right.
So available
You know what I mean? So-
logos, everything on that level, or
Yeah, logo, lo que sea, homie, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
it's
Hey, homie, you know what I mean? See that corner right there? I'll sweep it up for you real quick, dog, for 5. Put me to work, dog. I'm just like, soy mexicano, dog, que llegó aquí, you know what I mean? Like logos.
everything, man.
Everything,
Definitely some
man,
mad
everything,
styles in this motherfucker
everything,
today.
dog, you know what I mean?
The organization or the starting of Misol Tribe, because I know it's a huge movement now, and I say a movement, not a record label, not nothing like that. But where did that come from, or how did that break down, man?
To be honest with you, man, these were the times, you know, I mean, I got lost from me. I'm gonna be real with you. I mean, I got lost, you know, for approximately a good 6-7 years. I was caught up on drugs and shit, you know what I mean? I couldn't deal with life, so I became a meth addict, and I'm being real with you. So I would spend most of my times in the jails and in and out of jail. And there was this one time that every time I would go to jail, I would use that as my time out from the city, from society. Even though I was in a bad place, I would make it a good place in my own mind. And while I would sit there, I will envision my artwork. I would design and create my pieces. And I will envision my artwork in galleries and dreamer. You know, I'm a dreamer. And so I called my brother one day, collect, of course, you know what I mean? So I told my brother, you know what, dog, from now on, this point on, we're going to be Misol. And then he's like, what's that mean? I go, Mexica Indian surviving over life. So the name came out of the county jail, and my brother took it and ran with it, and he's been pumping that shit out, and I'm so proud. I'm happy for that. And then we've been holding it down. So I take care of the visuals, my brother takes care of the video, the music. My homeboys from ITS were the influence, and Misol's going strong, man. And it's amazing how the idea came behind bars.
Behind bars and through generations, you know what I'm
it's
saying?
true.
Like to keep it going and
Yeah,
shit.
and that's where the name came from, just sitting there.
So,
MisolTribe.com, FabianSpadeDebora.com, JuanCarlosMunozHernandez.com. Any shout outs? I know we got the fools from Homeboys up in the spot, and then they're representing Boyle Heights in the building. I know we got Juarez, Mexico in the spot. You know, just some shout outs real quick, man.
Yeah, well, I want to say what's up to Santa Monica, the homeboys from Santa Monica. They give me an opportunity to go out there and share my story, and I guess they're right on the chat, so they're on
Yeah.
it. And they're good people. They're doing great things out there. You should look out for them as well. You know, they're trying to educate and move our Chicano people forward, you know, and making them accomplish their goals and dreams in that college itself. So they got that little organization, and that they're pretty good. I like what they're doing, and they're taking a closer look and looking into the barrios and, you know, igniting more hope for those who come from the hoods like that. So they're great. And Juarez, Mexico.
We got some people up in the spot. Amsterdam, everybody, homie. We worldwide, man. Hip hop
That's
is
right.
worldwide.
As long as they're not New Mexico, homie, because I still got a little case pending out there. Go ahead.
Then that is not Spade to the left. He's the DJ. DJ Spade. What's any shout outs, man?
no, pues puro, ay, ¿qué te puedo decir? Puro cachanilla aquí, you know, para la gente de Mexicali que están oyendo allá. Y luego mi gente ahí en Boyle Heights and in the West Side, you know what I mean? And shout out to the crew, man, you know what I mean? LA
Yeah.
Bounce Squad, K2S, STN, the
Yeah.
W247,
Shit.
you know, in the house.
So straight up, man. I want to thank you guys. Long
Los
overdue, man.
Jefitas,
And
Jefitos.
straight up, yeah. And thank you guys for taking your time out to come through.
Yeah.
And I definitely appreciate it. Like, I'm probably not even going to do no more interviews. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got the East Side fucking legends in this motherfucker, dog.
That's
So,
right.
like, we going to shut this down. So then all you other people could probably try to take over hip hop. Nah, man.
That's right.
Everybody wants to ask why we do this. I do this, man, because like it needs to be archived. And if you look on our archives, just check on the people that we're fucking with. You know what I'm saying? Like all the archives that we had, the artists, and like I said, we represent all elements. You know what I'm saying? And people always ask us, well, how do you find them? It's the next big thing, or it's like, nah, we go on dopeness and history. like they're dope or they had something to do with this, like people that people don't know and shit. And like I said, the myth of being on the buses hopping and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and hearing about cats from like, nah, they're from the projects like us, dog, and they're fucking doing it straight up. You know what I'm saying? They're from the east side. We're in the east side now. Like, people trip out now. They're like, you have all these artists coming to the east side. Like, yeah, we do this shit in the east side. Like, we ain't trying to fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they're like, nah. So that little inspiration is stuff how Me Soul Tribe can grow and build. OG Husky Radio can grow and build. And artists like you know what I'm saying? We want to thank you guys for that. OGHuskyRadio.com. Thank you guys for coming through.
Thank you, OG Husky.
Thank you. Stay posted.
Al ratón le gusta el queso.
Top rank.
All right.